Welcome to Dare, the show for startup leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs who dare to shape the future. Dare is brought to you by the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, OEN, and Darwaft, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. The Dare Show is happy to welcome Toby Roberts to the show today. He is the founder of Thaan Charcoal. Previously, Toby was at Pok Pok Restaurants here in Portland. For those of you who know the deliciousness there, he's taken some of that expertise to found a new company, the Thaan Grill, and he's going to tell us all about it today. So, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ned. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic to have someone who contributed to food I love so much on the show. So I guess I'm going to back way up and ask you what got you into this type of food? Because this is food that comes out of Asia. And how did you come to start enjoying this food?
Yeah, well, I work for a well-known Thai restaurant group called Pok Pok Restaurants, started in Portland, Oregon. Incredible Thai food, Southeast Asian food, and we did a ton of grilling everywhere. We grilled in our commissary, we grilled in our restaurants. So much of our food was sort of kissed by fire, and we were using a lot of charcoal. And that was my sort of introduction to the charcoal sort of industry and charcoal cooking. I was looking for a better charcoal. A lot of what we were using was either really messy, sort of chemical laden, or it was really expensive and made from unsustainable resources like mangroves and things like that. So I was on a hunt for a better charcoal when I started Tom.
Right. And so you were at Pok Pok, I believe you said for about 10 years. And so you were
Yeah.
president of the
Mhm.
company. So Pok Pok had multiple locations throughout Portland and really influenced the food scene in a lot of ways. And I'm curious, before we get to your current company, what kind of growth or changes did you see Pok Pok go through?
Oh, yeah, that was a wild ride. We started in Portland. We had several restaurant concepts here. We then jumped over to New York and opened some restaurants there, which was really crazy and really, really well received when we opened in 2012. We went on to open restaurants in Los Angeles and Las Vegas and more in Portland. And it was just a constant journey of solving problems and gearing up for growth and getting creative and, figuring out how to launch a live fire cooking program in New York City or Los Angeles. There was a lot of daily challenges to work out, and it was really, really fun. And then when I left Pok Pok Restaurants, I continued opening other restaurants. I opened Gato Gato Restaurant, which is a
Wow.
Indonesian place in Portland, Oma's Hideaway, which is sort of Singaporean street food or sort of straight to Malay street food. Also, live fire cooking program. So, yeah, I really connected with the people, food, cuisine from these places and made it my career really to open these spaces that people could enjoy Southeast Asian food.
Great. So have you actually been to Southeast Asia yourself?
Yeah, I actually just went to Thailand in January for a couple of weeks visiting my manufacturer. Stayed mostly in Bangkok, but visited the manufacturer in Rayong, which is about 3 hours south and east of Bangkok. I was able to spend a couple days just, exploring the plantations where our input comes from. We basically take plantation scrap from rambutan trees and carbonize it to make our charcoal. So it was really, really fun to connect really deeply with the process from start to finish, from the wood source through, I extracted some of my own charcoal briquettes and just got to put my hands on the whole process.
Wow. So you really get into kind of the nuts and bolts or the actual charcoal making. Like you get into like what is the actual wood that's
Yeah,
being
it's rambutan, which is a tropical fruit. It's very similar to it looks to a lychee, but it's kind of this red, hairy, alien looking fruit. And it's an incredible fruit, but the wood is it's a hardwood fruit tree. And my manufacturing partners are really connected with the entire supply chain. So they actually give trees to landowners, help them plant it, but then also educate them on how to effectively prune the trees to maximize harvest, but also have this additional value add product, which is the trimmings that get sold to my manufacturer to make the charcoal.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're doing is moving from the experience of managing restaurants, or in the Pok Pok case, a restaurant chain, a small one, but an important one, into more of kind of democratizing this type of product that can make anyone capable of producing amazing food using charcoal that is really sourced from the same sort of places and the same sort of processes that you get in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, absolutely. We innovate and design products with restaurants sort of in mind first. That means we make consistent products, clean products, reliable products that, above all, create really incredible flavor. So, because we design products for restaurants first, they're incredible products across the board because chefs and restaurants, very discerning taste and really specific needs. So yeah, we're all about the experience of cooking over live fire. We're all about the flavor. There's this intangible feeling and you get from cooking over fire that can be indescribable, and you may not be obvious that a food is cooked over fire, but it just tastes better. There's something you can't pinpoint sometimes, and a lot of times it is because it's cooked over fire.
Yeah. So, well, I'll just ask you up front. Tell me about a meal that you really enjoyed or one that really stays with you.
Yeah. Oh, there's many of those. Earlier today I was thinking about this Yucatecan dish called chicken cheek,
Uh-huh.
which is a whole grill. It's sort of a filleted fish with a accioti sort of based marinade on it, and it's slowly cooked over an open flame. And that is just like a perfect example of fire or cooking with charcoal or wood just elevates something. It's just, there's so much flavor. It's a relatively simple dish, but it's so easy to enjoy and it's so dramatic. A whole fish grilled over fire is so dramatic, such dramatic presentation and such intense flavors. So that I think is a really good example of food cooked over fire done really, really well.
Oh, fantastic. So, just to go back to the charcoal for a second, you actually have like a tabletop grill, right? So, I
Yeah.
assume the goal is for somebody to use this tabletop grill outside, though, like not in your own kitchen. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Again, we design products for chefs and restaurants first. So we designed the Thaan grill. It's a 31-inch tabletop charcoal grill that's really built for rigorous use and just like intense, delicious, direct heat cooking. The format is similar to a Japanese Conro grill, which are really common in a restaurant setting because you can put them under your hood and they work really great because they're insulated, so you get that intense direct radiant heat. The problem with them is that they're made out of bricks that are effectively stapled together, and the bricks fail in a commercial setting. So you have the grill for a year and a half, the bottom bricks fall out every single time. If restaurant folks out there, if you have one of these grills, it's going to break for sure. So that was the jumping off point for designing the Ton grill, which takes that sort of form and function and makes it a better design for restaurants. So there's cleanable surfaces. The bricks are replaceable. It's got a steel body, so it's not going to fall apart during service. It's got a modular design so that you can, feed more charcoal in during service, or, we have a plancha, like a cast iron griddle that you can use instead of the grill grates. So it makes it a more dynamic cooking experience for chefs and restaurants, but it's incredible as a tabletop grill in your like outdoor patio or something like that. So instead of being off in a corner cooking on your Weber, your big green egg, you can actually bring the grilling experience to the table and share it with the friends, and everyone can kind of participate in the grilling experience. And it makes it a lot more interactive and a lot more fun. And it's a new and different way of grilling with guests, and definitely outside, not inside your kitchen.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. So, you've been around for a little while. What kind of uptake have you had on the market? What are your
Yeah.
customers saying?
Yeah, we've been doing the charcoal for quite a while. It's been over 10 years now that we've been offering this Thai charcoal, and we also expanded to a lump charcoal. It's 100% oak, as well as a high desert blend briquette, which is we screen out a bunch of the charcoal from the oak because it's too small. We mix
Hmm.
that with pecan shell charcoal and juniper charcoal to make our briquettes. And so, yeah, for the last 10 plus years, we have most of our traction has been with restaurants, food service. I'd say, yeah, the majority of our sales are to professionals. With the expansion of the line to the lump and the briquettes and also fatwood fire starters, we're pushing into retail. So we're picking up some retail doors in focusing on natural grocery and distribution through UNFI. So the response has been good from natural grocers because their charcoal set hasn't really innovated in a long time. They maybe have Kingsford briquettes and, Lazari or like a really low quality lump charcoal that doesn't provide the best experience and, doesn't provide the best flavor either. Often there's a lot of chemicals. So the response from, buyers and retailers has been really strong on our retail set. We're going into really our first grilling season with our full set. We had oak lump only for a bit last year, but I think the story makes more sense having a full retail set. So, yeah, we've gotten a really strong response. And then the Thaan grill, we just got our first production run, I want to say 3 weeks ago. I was still in Thailand when we received our first production run. So we're just now pushing those out and again kind of talking specifically with restaurants and chefs because we designed it for them, but we also want to harness their sort of celebrity status to develop some aspirational demand from consumers. So we're connecting with lots of content creators and influencers that are specifically chefs or cooks or restaurants that have a strong social media presence and sort of production ability. And then also where we've found a lot of traction is with places like stores, like Japanese chef knife stores and things like that. They really get what we are doing, and there's a lot of overlap in their customer base with our customer base, chefs and restaurants or people that maybe are familiar with like a yakitori grilling experience or they've seen these Conroe grills. So far so good for sure.
Great. And so what's the split between like consumers and restaurants using your products?
Yeah, right now it's probably 75% restaurants, and a lot of that is driven by our Thai style charcoal. One of the reasons, or some of the reasons that make the Thai style charcoal such a good food service charcoal is that it burns forever, burns for 4 to 6 hours, and it burns without smoke.
Wow.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
it gives chefs and restaurants a lot of control over flavor. You can add smoky flavor by adding chips or adding, a lot of people will use live wood and our charcoal, but control is the key. They will taste the ingredients if that's what they want to taste, and they can add smoke if they want. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
have very good relationships with chefs and restaurants. We do a lot of collaborative events. We're doing a chef series or a series called Live Fire Cooking Club where we're bringing out of town chefs to collaborate with local Portland chefs. Actually, tonight, Chef Nico Kagalanen from Cultura in Charleston is coming to do
Wow.
an event with Chef Carlo Lamagna at Magna Casina.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. And so, yeah, 75-25. And a lot of that 25% is e commerce. And it's because, our Thai style charcoal is a very unique product and something that people seek out. So we've found that e-commerce has been a good way to get that into people's hands.
Yeah. So is your goal to eventually become an entirely direct to consumer company or emphasize more of the restaurant side, or which direction do you think you'll go?
That's a great question. We have sort of a three-pronged strategy, actually. Our food service business sort of takes care of itself at this point. They're so important to us. We spend a lot of energy. We say that we're the most hospitable charcoal company in the world, but we're giving hospitality to folks in the hospitality industry. So
Yeah.
that continues to grow and it's wonderful. Retail, we are growing with this new retail set, and again, starting in natural grocery, and in particular, the West Coast and sort of Southwest Texas are regions that we're focusing on for natural grocery retail. E-commerce, we haven't quite cracked the code on that. It's not where we come from necessarily, and definitely have a steep learning curve with that. But with the Thaan grill and all the accessories we have planned for it and the product extensions that we're doing, we have a lot more reasons for people to engage our brand through e-commerce. And we also we're wanting to build this idea of live fire cooking culture, and we want Ton to be a place where people can learn about live fire cooking techniques, cuisines, connect. We want to connect the chefs that we have such good relationships with, the people that are curious about expanding their live fire cooking knowledge beyond, firing up briquettes and cooking hot dogs, hamburgers. We want to include sort of culinary, culturally specific culinary history, and just expand in general people's access to live fire cooking knowledge, because live fire cooking is this interesting thing that's shared across the world. Everywhere in the world has a history of cooking over fire, and we really like to explore that and share it. And I think that e-commerce is going to be the place for us to really tap into that community.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been around for a while. You've had some interesting uptake. And I'm curious, where's the food scene going? Like, what kind of inflection points do you see happening in the future, both for your company and for the larger industry? Like, you
Yeah.
must have thoughts about this.
There's definitely some incredible challenges in the restaurant industry. I sold my equity in my restaurants, Gato Gato, Almost Hideaway, Houston Blacklight. I also had some cafes, Gilder cafes. I sold all my equity in the food service side of things so that I could focus on Ton and launching the grill. There's a lot of creativity in the restaurant industry. There's an incredible resurgence, especially in Portland, of like pop-ups and food carts, and I think that those kind of tapered off for a while in the Portland food scene when we had some bigger players. The
Yeah.
pandemic kind of wiped the slate clean, and now there's a new generation of really creative people doing really cool stuff on a scale that is sustainable for them, and I think that's really, really exciting. The traditional brick and mortar restaurant is really hard to do right now. All of the rising costs, labor costs, food costs, eggs. I mean, you can't even find eggs in the grocery store. Not that restaurants are shopping at the grocery store, but it's just an
Yeah.
example of some of the challenges in the restaurant scene. I do see a lot of, expansion in live fire cooking, which is really cool. There's so many more restaurants that are bringing live fire cooking into their program and really talking about it. And
Yeah.
I think that's, obviously really exciting for me and close to my heart. I think even when we were doing it at Pok Pok, it was a really huge part of what we did, but not in the forefront of our communication of the food. It literally touched all of the food, from like toasting rice over charcoal to, grilling a steak. And so
Wait, that's really interesting. You can toast rice over charcoal?
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. There's these Thai stoves, they're called dows. They're ceramic stoves, and they fit a wok perfectly. And we would toast rice in a wok over charcoal in this dow. And again, it's like I don't not exactly sure why it makes it taste so much better, but it's there. We toast the rice and then grind it, and the toasted rice powder would be toasted over charcoal.
Interesting. Okay, great. And so you've used the phrase live fire cooking a couple times here.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what other kinds of cooking there are. I mean, clearly I can think of my electric stove or whatever, but why is live fire cooking unique and better? And why should we think about it as being something good?
Yeah, I think again, it's this touch point that every culture on earth shares: cooking over flame, cooking over wood, cooking over charcoal. And there's something really evocative about it. And I think also there's so much nuanced technique to cooking over fire that are distinct to regions, or even, towns or families. And that nuance is really worth exploring. So, you know, Argentinian asado cookery or yakitori in Japan or like, cooking julagawa over a sugar syrup over charcoal. There's so much to explore with live fire cooking beyond, throwing a steak on the grill or cooking hamburgers and hot dogs. And I think the what we really want to do is create a platform for exploring these nuances across the world, really, and making a platform to share these nuances and share these techniques, share these recipes and knowledge and community. It's really easy to build community around a fire. It just, you feel cozy, you feel connection, and it's easier to open up if you're all sitting around a campfire or if you're all sitting around food cooking over a fire. I think that's really exciting. And
Yeah.
so bringing it out to this really broad place, live fire cooking is like an incredibly broad topic. And I just want
Yeah.
to explore that.
Yeah, so I love your embrace of community and of that larger connection beyond just the food that you're eating in front of you. It connects you to other people. So that brings to mind the kind of entrepreneurial community here in Oregon and the fact that, in some places in the country, when you say you're an entrepreneur, you're a startup person, it's all about like technology or writing code.
Hmm.
And here in
Hmm.
Portland, it's awesome because we have all these entrepreneurs who are also food entrepreneurs or food enablers like you who are making great food and drink possible. Food and beverage, along with hard goods and athletic wear, and all of these amazing things in Oregon, even animation and film can be done by startups here. So we have
Hmm.
such an interesting entrepreneurial community. Can you speak a little bit to what that community has been like for you here?
Oh yeah, I mean it's incredible. It's definitely people centered and very supportive. There are organizations that are just incredibly committed to helping people have success. OEN, Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, is one of those for sure. They've been so helpful in expanding my network and giving me opportunities and giving me education. And there are other groups too. You talked about food and beverage. There's an incredible, it's just a Google group. It's Pacific Northwest Packaged Food Group. And it is all of Oregon's and Northwest, Pacific Northwest food and beverage brands just sharing issues and solutions and creativity and opportunities. It's just the most supportive group that I've, been a part of. And the list goes on. There's Small Business Development Center run out of PCC. They have incredible advisors that their form of payment is you saying that they've helped you and they just want to help you. And so I would just say, I don't know what it's like elsewhere, but it's incredibly supportive here. Same with the restaurant industry. There's something in the water, I guess, because, I think many markets, restaurants, obviously they're competitors, but it's a bit more cutthroat elsewhere. Here, everybody's rooting everyone on. The water brings all boats in the harbor up and all that. So I love all of the community that I engage with that are small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have so many interesting people doing interesting things in Oregon.
Yeah, it really is. Some really, really cool stuff. I'd also say the neighborhood that we're in, it's the Southeast Industrial area where we have our office and our warehouse here. I'm in this incredible building on Second and Salmon, and it's owned and operated by the folks that run the Portland Night Market and Snack Fest. They do all these events. They're
Yeah.
so creative and so supportive of all of the businesses that they interact with. And I think what they have in common with a lot of the small makers in our area in Southeast Industrial and around Portland is this really admirable way that they pursue their creativity. So they have an idea and they just go for it. I think that's the Portland spirit, is like people have a harebrained idea that is done well. They do it well. And for that, they bring such amazing things into the world that otherwise I think wouldn't be here without that like tenacity and creativity.
Yeah, it's really fantastic to be here in Oregon and see all of this creativity happen. Well, we're kind of at the end of our time, Toby, but I wonder if you could share with us what you dare to dream.
Oh, I dare to dream. I did a like a 10-year visioning process with my sales manager recently, and we have a lot of plans for the future, but I think at the core of them are, it's building community and real experiences around live fire and making live fire cooking more ubiquitous,
Hmm.
helping people let go of the grip that convenience has on them and taking a little more time enjoying what you're doing as you're doing it and enjoying the people around you and things that you can make. And so, yeah, I dare to dream more of all that.
That's fantastic to hear. Yeah. Great to have you on the show today, Toby. Really looking forward to getting your story out to the masses. And good luck with your cooking and making all that delicious food.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been really great to come on the show.
Great. Thanks to our guests today for their insights into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We wish you all the best in your startup journey. The Dare Show is brought to you by the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network and by Darwaf, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. Visit us at oen.org or at darwaf.io. Thanks again for listening. Till next time.